Welcome. This is my fifth day, day 5, feeling better after having tested COVID positive. Like last time in front of my room, office, and temple. Underground temple, room, and office. Literally in Hawk Island, Montreal, underground room, office, and temple. I'm visited by a beautiful white butterfly. It's already hot, it's 11 in the morning. Woke up early but went back to bed again. I wasn't feeling 100%. First 2 days were rough, although, as I've said in my previous videos and will say it reiterated again, that this is, I believe, the third time that I do have COVID. First time was the more intense, hardcore, severe form, and right at the beginning in January, end of January 2020 until about mid to late February 2020 for about 22 days. I think I also had it in 2021 last year, around more or less the same time as now. And I am triple vaccinated. Open carry my disinfectant for hand sanitizer. Just open pop squeeze, sanitize. Wash the hands when you go in and out of a public building. I am my fifth day of isolation. I'm keeping away from fellow citizens. I am staying far from fellow citizens, confined, quarantined, self-isolating within my own room, temple and office, temple, room, temple, office and room. Underground space that serves as an office, as a temple, and as a room. Within the perimeter, I'm literally 2 meters away from my room, my temple, and my office, which is underground. I'm gonna say my gratitude, thankfulness. It seems that I am on the verge of healing on this beautiful Wednesday, July 13th. Grateful, thankful, appreciate the fact that my rent is paid for July in full. My electricity bill is paid in full for July, and half of my phone bill is paid in full for July. So to that trinity of bills, there's an addition of the fourth dimension to that trinity of bills being paid. Is the fourth dimension that have coffee, water, and holy sacred food. Food is sacred. Food is holy. Food is divine. By food, we build, maintain, or upgrade civilization. So I'm grateful for that. So thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those bakers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those bakers baking bread, baguettes, bagels, muffins, in bakeries, in butcheries, making salami, cutlets, those making a salad in the food industry now, in the restaurant, the fast food industry, across the collective of North American civilization, across this North American civilizational collective. Doing a meditation now as this it's 11 a.m. although I'm not gonna get a view. I'm gonna be the only one viewing my non-edited, raw, real, revolutionary, philosophic, artistic, spiritual LGBTQ community as in part of the LGBTQ community related issues, artistic, financial, economic, everything under the sun and everything of nature and civilization. As I'm doing a meditation now, and imagining, of course, the Dragan army, east, west, north, south, from Hawkeye to Montreal, integrated across all and with all organizations and institutions in complementary in a covenant way, in a cooperative way with the Dancing Goddess Army, officially International Integrated Dance League, and Dragan Army, officially International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, to be of service and security, to be of service and security, to be for service and for security, east, west, north, south, providing a service maybe to a farmer, a massage service, a helping cleaning service to a trucker, massage, or XYZ, whatever services can be offered with consent, mutual understanding, and hygiene. The principle that harm none, all services offered. Consent, mutual understanding, and love and hygiene. The principle that harm none, all services offered. The principle that harm none, mutual understanding, love and consent and hygiene. Principle that harm none, all services offered. Those principles: harm none, consent and hygiene, mutual understanding. Dragon Army to build security and service, offer such services as cleaning, cooking, massaging, washing, reading to children, taking the children out to run a half an hour to play some basketball, soccer, to do the general war integrated whole body training system, my own created training program, of which I've done more than 260 so far, of course. And encourage all to work out, train, exercise. It has been, is, and will be medicine and therapy for yours truly, as I believe it is for many. Working out, training, exercise has been literally medicine and therapy for me. To work out, to train, to exercise. Say a blessing on this coffee. It's black coffee bean. Blessing meditation. This black coffee bean was made, created, and produced by the dance of the goddess with her brother the sun, or red berry. One of my brothers and sisters, farmers, maybe in the continent of the Americas, Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Costa Rica, or Cuba, or South America, Colombia, Brazil, or Ecuador, if not Africa, Ivory Coast, Uganda. I really want to try coffee from Uganda, but I haven't been able to find on the market. I cannot order online because I'm broke, although my work is gold. I'm broke, but my work is gold. I'm broke, but my work is gold. So nonetheless, the coffee could also be from Vietnam. Vietnam has risen in the past decade to become the second world producer country, and by de facto exporter. So Vietnam has risen to export and produce a lot of coffee. Could be from Vietnam. It doesn't say. I know it's dark roast, so, but I do know that all coffee beans, such as all fruits, vegetables, and legumes, are made, created, and produced by the dance of the goddess with her brother the sun, who now rises and now sets. All those rising now over Hawk, Hawk Island, Montreal, and illuminates all the Americas: Canada, United States of America, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Panama, Costa Rica, going down to Colombia, Venezuela, Bolivia, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Brazil, the Guyanas, French Guyana, Dutch Guyana, Uruguay, Paraguay, illuminating all the American continents, north, central, and south. At this point in time, the sun, so much light and life Light and life is being shed now over the continent, North America, Central America, South America, and even, of course, it's Berlin is 6 hour difference, so there, the time is in Berlin. Let's see. As many questions as I have, don't know it all. As a student scholar of universal spiritual teaching student, because I'm learning in every day, and as a philosopher, have a lot of questions as well. It's 11:11 a.m. Supposedly, some say that's a good omen. Maybe after quarantine tomorrow, if I get out of quarantine, self-isolation, should play a lotto. It's exactly 11 a.m. in the morning in Hawk Island, Montreal. So in Berlin, it's 5:12 p.m. So they still have more than 3 hours to go until sunset. In Jerusalem, it's 6:12 p.m. So they also have more than 2 hours and a half until sunset. The sunset, the Western Hemisphere is past 8:30. So Cairo was born in many past lives by the Nile, as was born in by the Ganges in ancient India, by the Euphrates in ancient Sumerian Babylon, by the Danube in ancient Rome. And here before Columbus was born a few times in the continent of the Americas, North, Central, and South. Many incarnations, many past lives. This right here, 11:11 a.m. July 13th, 2022. Yours truly, independent artist, independent activist, independent athlete, universal spiritual teaching student, great, superb, excellent geopolitical analyst and theorist, world's greatest living dancing millennium rainbow poet, and yours truly, androgynous, pansexual founder of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, Adrian H. Dragonborn, being reborn during this COVID. Adrian Hanna Dragan, triple vaccinated, tested positive for COVID Saturday. And in San Francisco, of course, on the West Coast, Vancouver, and Seattle, it is morning because we subtract the hours. So they are 8:13 a.m. in the morning. But Berlin and Jerusalem and Cairo, they're respectively 6 and 7 hours. Israel is 7 hours, plus 7 hours, plus 7 hours, plus 7 hours from Hawk Island, Montreal, that way. East, and that was west for me, from my perspective, and I'm facing south. North is in the back of me, from my perspective. From somebody who's on the south, he looks at me in the north. So Cairo, it's 5:14 p.m., so they still have 3 more hours of sun. It's very hot, maybe, in Cairo, city of the pyramids. But nonetheless, it's, however, we have divided the time, of course, time zones 24, like 12 and 12, respectively, east west, if you want. Canada, we have what, 4.5 time zones. I think the country that has the most time zones in the world is Russia. Russia has the most because its expanse is from Eastern Europe all the way to Asia, covering the border with China, with the Far East. It's called the Far East, like all the way to Siberia. So Russia has more, I believe it's 11, if not more time zones. Maybe 12, maybe even 13. I'm pretty sure 11, but it could be 12 or 13 time zones Russia has. more than 11, if not 11 time zones. From one point to the other, it's 11-hour difference, almost half a day. We're on, let's say, to 12. So let's say it could be somewhere in Russia that it's noon, and it's midnight somewhere close. Because if it's 11, there's a missing hour, but nonetheless, the expanse. Other countries have two time zones, three time zones. Canada, coast to coast, you have, from the Maritimes that way. The edge of the Maritimes, the farthest point of Canada to the west, or the farthest to the east. I think it's 4.5 time zones total. But of course, the U.S., since U.S. has territories which are in the Pacific Islands, U.S. would have also different time zones calculated. So doing this meditation, being thankful, grateful, I'm gonna do a meditation and thanking again. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers of the North American Civilizational Collective. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, warehouse workers, those wearing steel toe boots now. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, doctors. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those bakers. Those making cheeseburgers, hamburgers, making a salad, some fries now somewhere. Thank you, love you, kiss you. Bus drivers, thank you, love you, kiss you. City workers in sanitation picked up the garbage Monday. Thank you, love you, kiss you. Butchers, thank you, love you, kiss you. Bakers, thank you, love you, kiss you. Construction workers, thank you, love you, kiss you. Construction workers, thank you, love you, kiss you. Farmers, thank you, love you, kiss you. Doctors, thank you, love you, kiss you. Gardeners, thank you, love you, kiss you. Workers of the city, thank you, love you, kiss you. Workers of the city, thank you, love you, kiss you. Workers of the city. Those were, thank you, love you, kiss you. Those dock workers in ports, loading, unloading ship. Thank you, those love you, kiss you, hug you. Those loading or unloading trucks. Thank you, love you, kiss you. Those loading and unloading trucks, loading or unloading trucks. Let's do a meditation now. How many trucks across this North American civilizational collective going east, west, north, south? Thank you, love you, kiss you, workers of Hydro Quebec. Here in the province of Quebec, we have clean, zero pollution, zero emission, clean, renewable energy. Thank you, love you, kiss you. Workers of Hydro Quebec. Thank you, love you, kiss you, workers of Hydro Quebec. 63 dams in this great province, La Belle Province, in which I'm a Quebecer, I'm a Quebecois, North American Quebecois, Quebecer, citizen of the world, world citizen, LGBTQ world citizen, but with my particular North American, perhaps social, philosophical, cultural values in many ways, are North American. Of course, as a geopolitical analyst, my theory, of course, is that North America constitutes a collective of civilization. The North American Civilizational Collective, the collective of North American civilization, that's emergent, that emerged distinct, but not yet separate or cut off from Western civilization, but it emerged in a response to the crisis that Western civilization faced by nations, states, countries of the Western civilization fighting each other during the Second World War with the hardcore competing ideologies which became authoritarian and totalitarian, even communism, fascism, fascism, communism, fascism, communism. In the North, the collective of North American civilization emerged as a response sort of to it, as a counter response, as a spawn of the collective of North American civilization. Started a bit earlier, but nonetheless, in my theory, the pinpoint of the origins of the beginning of the collective of North American civilization taking shape and form and forming more throughout the decades until now, still forming, still in transformation, began in the Second World War. Due to the fact that European nations, countries, states were at war with each other. So Western civilization had civil wars, if you want. Western civilization had civil wars, if you want. Western civilization had civil wars, wars within the Western civilization. Nations that are part of the Western civilization fought with each other. Due to that fact, one of my original theories, among many creative original theories, called the North American Civilizational Collective, or the Collective North American Civilization. But the term collective doesn't, of course, cannot be separated from North American civilization because it constitutes a collective, meaning a plurality of cultures, peoples that constitutes collective civilization, formed from immigration, development, and consequently, ultimately, due to the Second World War. But it's has nothing to do with the term collectivism. Collectivism is a union that have common denominator. Collective in that sense. So doing a meditation now in the sun on this fifth day of COVID. Imagine my thank you again. I'm gonna say gratitude again. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, workers of Hydro Quebec. Getting us electricity, clean, renewable, zero emission, pollution. Thank you, love you, kiss you, butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bakers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, train conductors, thank you, love you, kiss you. I was in the ports, called this collective of North America civilization, Canada, coast to coast, US is Mexico, and of course I include the islands in the collective of North American civilization, although Cuba is a peculiar paradox, which, with its own peculiar paradox and its maintenance, having this, wow, kind of like a miracle that the socialist, I'm not gonna go into the discussion about Cuba socialism and romanticizing or being overly sentimental about Cuba, but unless the majority of the Cuban people I've met, the culture is amazing. So much heart, so much love, so much passion, so much. But nonetheless, the I include Cuba as I include Haiti and the Dominican Republic and the islands of the Caribbean in the collective of North American civilization. But Cuba is a unique paradox due to the fact that Cuba has been able to maintain its socialist People's Republic, communist state, like ruled by Marxism, Leninism, Marxist, Leninist, official party, state party, ideological philosophy is Marxism, Leninism. I'm a universal revolutionary centrist. I have my own theories for the development of the 21st century, and I also am the founder of the global Dragan Union, which I'm calling all Willingly Loving. 21st Century Workers Alliance for the 21st century. But I'm not perfect. I have lust. I get moody, get upset, get triggered, get emotional, upset. Got vices, got issues, got lusts. I don't play it self-righteous or read over much from a piece of paper unless I gotta read from for technical matters. Statistics. A leader of the free world, Mr. NATO Secretary Jens Stolberg, my brother. But nonetheless, the paradox of Cuba maintaining its one-party socialist slash communist state. It's a paradox, and Cuba do include it in the collective of North American civilization, albeit it is still paradoxically, miraculously, somehow it's still, even after when communism started falling in Eastern Europe, the Berlin Wall was November 9, 1989. Even decades later, turmoil and protests, Cuba has been a state, socialist communist. I'm a universal revolutionary centrist, meaning that the purport for humanity, a global, international, world civilization. But it seems that we have in our own, recently, of course, economic, financial, commercial inequalities, which have been growing since 1984. Since Ronald Reagan's election. In my analysis, Ronald Reagan's election of 1984 has created vast economic, commercial inequalities, and trickle-down economics has now worked in quite the contrary. Less and less people being able to afford mortgages, and wages have stagnated. Canada, US, across the NATO countries, G7 countries, with labor unions being more suppressed, more corporate, financialized. I theory, of course, that in 1984, the globalized, financialized order has instituted itself in global corporate financial order has risen since 1984. The Ronald Reagan, my name Adrian H. Dragan, like Reagan pronounced. Ronald Reagan in 1984. Since that election, of course, United States emerging as the sole superpower after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and all the events thereafter with the global corporate financialized world order, or the corporation and financialization. And I do firmly believe my theories, citizen integration theory, democratic fusion theory, debt refusion theory applied, implemented, at this point in time are best as a solution to be implemented, as a solution to be implemented for new balance, new harmony, and equilibrium. And those Trinity of theories, which were written by yours truly over many, many years of struggle, suffering, was depressed and suicidal. Working out, training, exercising has been an investment in the body, and medicine and therapy, and have been and will advocate for the mass financing thereof, my brothers and sisters, to work out, to train, and to exercise, to take care of the body. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, and I'm calling for moving towards a post-COVID economic, financial, commercial, social, philosophical, spiritual, even political new system of both pleasure and purpose, and attaining harmony. The purpose mainly to attain harmony between civilization and nature, and address economic inequality. And pleasure is holy, sacred, and divine in my spiritual teachings. Now, without being a bit selfish at times, I try to stay in the middle balance and recognize my own nature and psychological dimensions, which sometimes we're not openly to admit in public. That we have struggles, and we struggle, feel resentment and jealousies, and experience feeling all those, the lowest of the low, feelings and emotions. Aggression, have aggression. I do have aggression. I channel it. Push-ups, squats, hawks, my workouts. We need to also mass finance and encourage. If you see the child do a push-up, you say do another one. If you see the child do a pirouette, say do another one. Applaud, say do another one. To the child jogging or running, applaud, say run some more. Encouragement is super important. I'm being encouraged by a child. I am being encouraged and pushed, ordered by a child. Paradoxically, being encouraged, ordered, and pushed by a child. Hidden fears we have, hidden lusts, pushing some of us towards suicidal, homicidal tendencies. Sometimes it's loath to admit them to ourselves. We feel certain negative keywords in my psychosexual theory and philosophy of life and psychosexual is sublimate and channel and sublimate and channel into art, cleaning, feel moodiness, start cleaning, do push-ups, run a half an hour, jog a half an hour, do squats 50 or 100 like me, do 100 push-ups, do my general more integrated whole body training system, workout, train, exercise, and mass finance. We have reached a point where for decades we have had multi-millionaire athletes, patriarchal sports leagues. I'm saying patriarchal because let's face it, there's not even one women's sports league who makes even close to what the four patriarchal sports leagues plus the Euro soccer make in terms of economic, finance, and financial, economic wise. Not even close. Not even close, right? Not even close economically, financially, commercially, let's be honest. Private public partnership to mass finance. Mass finance, people who workout, train, exercise. Multi-millionaire athletes, the CEOs first and foremost of the four patriarchal sports leagues of the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. CEOs first and foremost. The athletes, therefore, governments throughout the North American civilizational collective and beyond. Corporations, mass finance, people who work out, train, exercise. Incentivize. Doing a meditation now since I've seen a truck passed and it's written on the truck, importer and exporter of, using French, so I'm gonna do the traduction since products from Asia since 1989. That's what it said. I'm not gonna give the name of the company because I don't get paid. I'm still waiting for that first dollar to be gifted via PayPal. Or I'm auctioning this shirt, this red shorts, to raise money for the dancing goddess in the Dragon game. Doing a meditation and being grateful, thankful again, and thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bakers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, dock workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, warehouse workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those loading or unloading the trucks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those workers, Hydro Quebec here. Thank you, love you, kiss you, workers in sanitation of the city. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, daycare workers. Well, let's do a meditation now. I'm seeing that truck. I don't know if how many goods it had. Delivered goods maybe from the port to the markets. Montreal, Hawk Island, where I live. Hawk Island, Montreal, Hawk Island, HAWK, Hawk Island, Lake Montreal. A huge metropolis island of more than 2.5 million people just on the island. Big city. One of the top most populated cities in the world. Of Canada. It's second most populated city of Canada after Toronto. Second most populated city in Canada is Montreal. Toronto, TO is first. Toronto's first. North America and the world. How many trucks are going out with goods or from Montreal coming in with goods into Montreal. There's few ports I know of, ports round about. There's bridges, right? Coming on the bridges going south or going north. It's pretty much in the south, going towards the United States, north towards a little bit of North Shore, Laval of Montreal. 500,000 people also live there. But most likely, most trucks would come and go towards the south, the US, right? So across the North American Civilizational Collective, the collective of North American civilization, how many trucks now? 156, maybe 333, maybe 718, maybe in the hundreds, maybe in the thousands, right? Circulating now across Mexico, US, Canada, going back and forth. And also trains with that, cargo trains, coast to coast Canada. And we have integrated North American railways as we have highways, as we have airspace. Right? NORAD, where you at? Trucks with potatoes, trucks with bananas, trucks with coffee, trucks with cans of goods, all sorts of goods for different. The majority of the market, of course, and the corporations is, of course, not small business. It's big business. It's the corporations, big corporations. A few dominate a lot of the market and the grocery stores, right? But nonetheless, there's trucks going south, north, north, south, coast to coast, east, west, east, west, east, west, north, south, north, south, north, south, east, west, north, south, north, south, east, west. At this moment in time, thank you, love you, kiss you. July 13 around the truckers, those loading and unloading the trucks. It's part of the supply chain. The workers, general workers. I'm broke, but my work is golden. When COVID put in more work than all the leaders of the free world. Yours truly, Adrian Hanna Dragan, put in more work than all the leaders of the free world. Put in more work than all the leaders of the free world during COVID. Physical work. You see hundreds of my workout videos, philosophical videos, my marches, all that. I'm looking for volunteers. I'm looking to make new friends, to people to join me, to support, to mutually support. Join, volunteer, bless, love the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. I love hearing children being joyous. I love hearing children being joyous. I love hearing children being joyous. Brings me joy. This afternoon I'm gonna translate my wrote a children's book. Wrote a children's books. I'm writing children's books. And to do a translation in French. I wrote one on the go on the march. It's one of the best I ever wrote, and I think ever written. Perhaps I'm overestimated, overvalued. I was inspired by the greatest artist and scientist, Mother Nature, forgotten goddess, and also by civilization, us. And we're part of it, whether we sense it or whether we're connected at different levels of not. Sun rises, sun sets now, and the dance of the goddess continuous dances with her brother and son to make, create, and produce all ALL fruits, vegetables, and legumes. It's a black coffee bean that I'm drinking. It's black coffee bean coming from a red berry also is made, produced, and created initially by the dance of the goddess with her brother the sun. As all the fruits, vegetables, and legumes, and the grain, and the grain, and the grain, the wheat, the barley, all the grains, corn, the rye, the barley, the wheat, the rye, the barley, the wheat, the rye, the barley, the wheat, are made, produced, and created by that dance that our brothers and sisters, farmers, harvest for us to make, upgrade, or maintain civilization. Make, upgrade, or maintain civilization. Make, upgrade, or maintain civilization. All fruits, vegetables, and legumes are made, created, and produced by that dance. Our brothers and sisters, farmers, harvest for us to make, upgrade, or maintain civilization. I need food. You need food. The rich, the poor, the tall, the small. Many questions do have speculations. Everybody gotta eat. So, thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bakers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, delivery people who deliver the food, who make the food. Thank you, love you, kiss you, sanitation workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers again. Thank you, love you, kiss you, dairy farmers. How are you feeling? Better. It's day 5. It's day 5, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that's it. My sister, anonymous sister, anonymous sister. Quite a general. Waved hello to a neighbor from afar, from afar, from afar. Here I'm at least 10 meters away from, just in front of my room office and temple. Just literally, just I guess, a little bit more, 3 meters away from my temple room and office. So doing that meditation now, continuing with the meditation. I'm gonna say it again. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, massage you, tickle, wash you. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, massage. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. I see another truck passing. Has plenty of fruits on it. My call, of course, to create via my Trinity of theories, citizen integration theory, debt fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory, to complementary and covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka Dragan Army, to create the Dragon Army for Security and Service, local, national, international, integrated with all existing public and private institutions and organizations and security organizations and institutions, such as the RCMP in Canada, RCMP in Canada, FBI, CIA, CSIS, CSIS, Canadian Secret Service, FSB, Mossad, don't hack me, or that 14-year-old whiz genius teen hacks my iPhone, rap a little bit on Instagram, don't want me to start rapping, perhaps rap for a deliciously disgusting diatribe about the massaging the farmers by the leaders of the free world parliament and Congress of the USA. Don't hack me up, Rainbow Dragon, man. Rainbow Dragon, got lust, got issues, got vices. Ain't got no money in my PayPal, nobody donated for my videos or make it an offer for to buy my shirt. So don't. I do watch a little bit of adult pornography, guilty. Leaders of the free world, you know, watches a little bit of POR and porn. Only during the Sabbaths. The last Sabbath was too sick to watch, so. But yeah, I've implemented a discipline, some rules. So, hey, just gonna watch during the Sabbath. During the week, work. Even spiritual work. The past 7 years, I did more spiritual work than the last 77 popes. It's the Pope. And my spirituality embraces the nature, the physicality, to be devoid. Pleasure is holy, with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding. My allies and armies, if I can bring joy by massaging, washing feet, kissing, the global dragon union, to to be, balance harmony, like complementing skills and competences and knowledge and experiences, and sometimes the energies are very different from each other, right? Sometimes me too, I'm not always intense. A lot of times I'm intense. So somebody told me once, 7 years ago, maybe I lost intensity. I've been depressed, suicidal, down and out, rock bottom. Sometimes I'm part of a dreamer, but I'm also a human being, I think. Once again, thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, wash you, massage you, farmers, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, massage you, wash you, butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, wash you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bakers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, wash you, bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those in ports. Loading, unloading the ships in warehouses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses, doctors. Thank you, love you, kiss you, doctors, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those making sandwiches, fast food industry. who's making a coffee. Maybe your coffee is being served now to a truck who drove for 7 hours and made a pit stop, or drove 6 hours, stops, has to drive 6 hours more. And those who make a coffee somewhere across this coast to coast Canada, it's very wide. USA, Mexico, the collective of North American civilization. In the ports of Montreal, ports of Vancouver, ports on the east coast, ports on the west coast, and vice versa. Train conductors, those working on the railways. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, wash you, massage, all general workers, thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you. As I said, past 7 years I've worked more than the past 77 popes combined, and say the seven holy sacred name letters. I'm gonna say goddess, 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 GODDSS. Feelings, the emotions, the irrational side of life matters, just as the logic, mathematic matters. They can be complementary. My philosophy to express that is yes, 2 plus 2 equals 4. That doesn't mean that we gotta write it only one color. My favorite red, a color the Dragan Army red officially, or green, color the dancing goddess officially is green, or just black, or just white. You can put all the colors in that equation, black, white, plus all the colors of the rainbow. The two we can write part of it in red, part of it in another color. Plus we can write one line black, the other white. Or the other two we can write part of it green, the other one another color. The equal sign we can write one line black, the other white, and the four we can write it one top line in orange, the other one in pink, and the other one in purple. So we can blend the colors of the rainbow plus the black and the white just in that equation. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Meaning that the irrational, emotional aspects of life matter, can go hand in hand with the mathematics as well, right? With the logic, with the science. And in the parallel life, science, innovation, and technology is my parallel path. In that parallel life, getting headaches to connect with it, sends documents of 56,000 pages. Merci beaucoup, thank you very much. Yeah, have a nice day. So connecting with that parallel life, or with that parallel self, is where science, innovation, and technology is the chosen path. It's and where satellites, supercomputers, and ICBM gadgets or microchips or software is my chosen path. Right? I just said thank you to the mail delivery. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, mail delivery workers. Mail delivery and workers. Delivery. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, those making deliveries of groceries, of necessities, essentials. I said in that parallel life, science, innovation, and technology is my chosen path. In this, it is philosophy, psychosexual theory, art, the irrational, emotional side, the spiritual side of life, artistic, historical, and the geopolitical analyst. At some things I am mediocre, I admit it, guilty. I am mediocre at some things, skills, competencies. At some things I am average at some things, skills, competencies, at some things, skills. Mediocre at some things, average at some things, so at others. Fucking useless at some things. One time I had trouble changing a light bulb. Messed the whole thing up. Too much force, too much on the right, too much on the left. Not enough technique, not enough patience, maybe. I did mistakes. Everybody deserves second and third chances. Just for explanation. Try to avoid gossip in the workplace. Try to address directly. Give everybody second, third chances. Gossip, slander. A lot of it comes from jealousy, and I had feelings of jealousy, had feelings of inferiority, to feel inferior to certain things. Basketball, I fucking suck at it. Tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny little androgynous car kid. I'm good at geopolitical analysis and theory, philosophical geopolitical analysis and theory, top, excellent, great. To see trends where civilizations and cultures and nation states, powerful states or civilizations are headed, and the geopolitical regions, dissecting the regions, the complementarities, and dissecting their economic, financial, commercial, military, political systems, and the trends towards which they are headed, or for which they are headed with each other or within their own geopolitical, geo-region, geo-civilizational regions. I call geo-civilizational regions, North America, Central South, for example, part of Africa, Maghreb, Northwest, part of the Central West, part of the South, or Europe, Central, Western, Central, Central Eastern, Central South, by Europe, Central Eastern, Central South, or Central West, depending on the concordance of the countries. But however, due to the fact that the European Union exists, the euro exists. In fact, of course, when you look at other places, how the structures. I'm great at that. I'm great at the philosophy theory, my theories. At this point in time, 2020, I believe they're unmatched. Citizen integration theory, debt fusion theory, democratic fusion theory. I believe they're unrivaled in terms of my trinity of theories to be implemented for a public-private partnership for a new world order of world peace, international justice, security, and ensure global freedom. Citizen integration theory, debt fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory. Trinity of theories. With a fourth dimension, love. Love is action. Not just blah blah blah. Love is action. Not just blah blah blah. But at some things, so average. In the pile of life, science, innovation, and technology, supercomputers, microchips, ICBM rockets, satellites, is all that knowing that parallel life in this life. You know, some poetry, some philosophy, some psychosexual theory, geopolitics, theory, financial, economic, political, social analysis. I'm a universal spiritual teaching student because I have a lot of questions, a lot of art of mystery. What I do know is Mother Nature is the greatest artist and scientist. I am a piece of dust, dancing and geopolitical analyzing and philosophizing, dancing piece of dust, nonetheless. Damn, a piece of dust, but I'm a dancing piece of dust nonetheless. And yes, I lust. I'm a dancing piece of dust nonetheless, but yes, I lust. I want to kiss, I want to love, I want to hug. I want to kiss, I want to love, I want to hug. I want to kiss, I want to love, I want to hug. Point your finger at me. For leaders of free world, read from a piece of paper. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm androgynous. I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm androgynous. A woman, I'm a man, I'm androgynous. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm androgynous. Independent artist, independent activist, independent athlete, Triple A. Yes, with flaws, vices, temperatures. Leaders of the free world, say I love you. Say I love you. What are we fighting for? If somebody's not making love now or tonight, save the free world for multi-millionaire stockbrokers, stock traders. We're at 12:04 p.m. Who's selling buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell? Who made $1 million in 3 hours since 9 a.m. to now? Who lost a $500,000? Crypto buy, sell, trade stocks, future options, puts, trade talks, futures, options, stocks, puts. Say no more monkey business. Say no more monkey business. No more monkey business. Secure food, housing, and transport. Secure food, housing, and transport. Secure food, housing, and transport. Local, national, international, public-private partnership. Dragan Army, Dragan Army, Dragan Army. Complementary covenant in a cooperative way with the dancing goddess army and offer services. Fourth dimension to the trinity of food, housing, and transport. Public-private partnership. Creation of the UE. And theory after debt fusion theory, taking all debt, public and private, creating the universal exchange unit. local, national, international, in a new peg to food, housing, and transport. Debt refuse all debt. My private debt is 10,000 if I'm X, and X represents all private debt, and I'm X1, you're X2. There's hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions in Canada, US, Mexico, Germany, Israel, and throughout NATO, and the American and beyond free world. Hundreds of millions of people in debt. Debt skyrocketed record levels. Majority, let's face it, are broke, in debt, paying interest go up, inflation. My theory best, debt refusion theory, creating the UE. The UE, Universal Exchange Unit, after securing food, housing, and transport, Dragan Army public-private partnership. Food, housing, and transport. After that, providing the fourth dimension, services. Whatever services can be offered with consent and hygiene, creating the UE to have a element of element element of element of securing food, housing, and transport, and of course creating the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. Biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers. The voice, the eye, and the hand, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers. The Universal Exchange Unit after debt refusion theory. That is my call. Now I need to get a coffee refill, and we'll continue in my room in 3 seconds. We resume, this time in my underground room off Sun Temple. Let's resume, we'll resume, resuming with thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, plus hug you, wash you. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, truckers, plus wash you. A little bit of massage with that. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, doctors. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, dock workers, operators. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those working in warehouses wearing steel toe boots. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those making burgers, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, fries, salads. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those making salads, cheeseburgers, hamburgers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, cleaning workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, the sanitation workers of the city. Thank you, love you, kiss you, workers on the docks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, pilots of cargo or passenger trains. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those working in airports and in ports and on trains, cargo trains, freight trains, or passenger trains, maintenance or conducting at all levels. Thank you, all general workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, wash you. All general workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, wash you. Thank you, all general workers. Love you, kiss you, hug you, wash you. Resume a little bit of a cup of coffee and continuing the meditation, and we'll proceed by doing some reading, continue the reading. It's in the news. We're gonna take a look at the news in a few minutes. First, I want to do the meditation now at this point in time from Hawk Island, Montreal. It's 12:22 p.m. EST in Hawk Island, Montreal. I was having lunch now. I have to make my own lunch. I'm grateful. Got $1 special the other day. Actually, 2 for 3, so $1.50. Correction. 2 for 3. 2 dozen of wieners, chicken wieners, which I'm gonna boil, and have them. Maybe do a little bit of a rotini, boil some rotini, and do maybe a little bit of have a little bit of mayo, and maybe do a little bit of salad later on today, this afternoon. If not, have $4.97. Paid for got 8 breaded chicken burgers, so I'm gonna do a few of those, heat them up, and eat those. They're fully cooked, just gotta be heated up. So I'm good, got food for today, my last 5th day of quarantine, self-isolation, which is recommended now 5 days. It has gone down. It was to be 2 weeks at the beginning, 2020, right? 2 weeks, and from 2 weeks it went to 10 days, and now from 10 days last year, this year, 5 days. So fully 5 days. Saturday was the first day that I tested, day 1. Sunday, day 2, 3. Monday, day 3. Tuesday, day 4. Today, Wednesday, July 13th, is my 5th day of COVID. I think it's the 3rd time that I have it. And again, on COVID, my trinity on COVID has been, is, and will be this. First and foremost, do not know what caused COVID. Second, believe it was transmitted from snakes to human beings. Since don't know for sure, cannot rule out another possibility. What do know 100% is that before COVID started, the 93 days or so before the WHO declared it a global pandemic or pandemic, began the general war integrated total body training system, aka the Dragan Army workout. My workout created to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario, and made and designed the general war integrated total body training system due to my geopolitical analysis. As a geopolitical analyst and theorist, I've come to the conclusion back in 2019 that we're on a path towards another international conflagration. So created, made, and designed the general war integrated total body training system to go hand in hand with such a World War III scenario. So that I do know for sure. That is the 4th dimension to my trinity on COVID. First and foremost, do not know what caused COVID for sure. Do believe it was snakes, but since don't know for sure, my belief in snakes is not confirmed 100%. Cannot rule out another possibility, XYZ, whatever that XYZ possibilities can be: a man-made virus, an accident in a lab, an experiment gone wrong, or a bioweapon. That's my trinity on COVID. Plus the 4th dimension. No, that tested positive, sadly. Yeah. 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 Continuing after this early afternoon meditation and reading on the news in a minute. We're gonna continue writing the children's books and the translation. If not get today, to do a cleaning, do a post-COVID cleaning tomorrow, Thursday. Which ones? So meditation continues. Imagine all those truckers, how many goods they're transporting east, west, north, south of Arc Island, Montreal. Potatoes, tomatoes, bagels, bread, goods, consumer goods, canned goods, rice, chocolates, milk, right? The Dragan Army, ground east, west, north, south, to give a good hug or a good massage or some good service or something to the truckers and to the farmers, the grocery store clerks, and complimentary with the Global Dragon Union, Global Dragon Union, the Global Dragon Union, the Global Dragon Union, my favorite of the 21st century, Global Dragon Union of the 21st century, 21st century Global Dragon Union, my universal revolutionary centrist principles. I call the 11 holy, sacred, and divine principles Global Dragon Union for the 21st century to address the economic, financially, commercial inequalities and to break the impasse, break the impasse, break the impasses. And work towards peace. Peace also through action, not just words. Action can be of pleasure, of practical help, or any type, entertainment. Peace through push-ups. Peace through push-ups. Peace through push-ups. Peace through push-ups. I have a question. I have it. Channel it, sublimate it. It's been through hell and back, rock bottom, depressed, suicidal. I admit a lot of things publicly, you know. Now I could turn everything off, stop this video. Don't, if I don't want to post it, I won't post it. Choose the will, choose the will, choose the will. Close the blinds, get naked, put Madonna music, Tekashi 69 music, 69, Kanye West music. Start dancing naked if I want. So I'm back in my private Dragon's Lair, Rainbow Dragon's Lair, underground room, office, and temple. So I'm a private citizen. But when I step outside, I'm also no longer just private citizen, I'm also public citizen. So added responsibilities and obligations when I step outside. I'm in my private room, office, and temple. My rent's paid. That is my obligation, duty, to pay my rent. My rent's paid July 13th. I don't know, live day by day, carpe diem. It's my obligation. Pay my rent. Also, do some cleaning. Can do a little bit more cleaning in my underground room, office, and temple. Do like some color, but I don't know. So do more cleaning. Of course, before I proceed with the revolution, I gotta clean my room, office, and temple first. So probably, if not today, then post-COVID, my isolation tomorrow. So today I'm gonna work. Creative work, writing. This, I've done meditation in the sun, and this work, consider it work, philosophic work, artistic work, intellectual work, meditation work, as I do physical work as an independent fitness captain. Meditating on the interconnectedness of society, civilization. Me as an independent artist, independent athlete, independent activist, universal spiritual teaching student, geopolitical analyst and theorist, world's greatest living dancing millennial rainbow poet, You do not Dragan androgynous pansexual founder of the dancing goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. Far from being perfect. With issues, vices, lusts. Don't play it self-righteous. Trinity of theories, citizen integration theory, fusion theory, democratic fusion theory. Firmly believe they're best at this point in time for the implementation in order to create the two complementary and covenant and cooperative institutions, the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, security and service to hand in hand, aka the Dragon Army, complementary in the covenant in a cooperative way with the International Integrated Dance League, Dancing Goddess Army, Phoenix People's Party, the anti-war, anti-poverty, anti-racism, pro-love party, triple anti, but fourth dimension, pro LOV, love is action, not just blah blah blah. The Global Dragon Union. Calling all willingly loving to support the mission, vision, and philosophy thereof. Volunteer, join, bless, support. Website, advocacy online, on the streets online, on the streets, on the streets online. Join aid or Nana Dragons, Dancing Goddess and Dragon Kingdom. Now we'll proceed to read some of the news. What is in the news? But first we will go and we'll continue reading about the COVID-19 pandemic. Since, of course, I am part of the pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic, also known as the coronavirus pandemic, is a global pandemic of coronavirus disease 2019 caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. The novel virus was first identified from an outbreak in Wuhan, China in December 2019. Attempts to contain it there failed, allowing the virus to spread to other areas of China and later worldwide. The World Health Organization (WHO) declared public health emergency of international concern on 30th of January 2020 and a pandemic on 11th of March 2020. As of July 13, 2022, the pandemic had caused more than 557 million cases and 6.35 million confirmed deaths, making it one of the deadliest in history. COVID-19 symptoms range from undetectable to deadly, but most commonly include fever, dry cough, or fatigue, which I had fever. First 2 days I had fever, and now these dry cough. It's earlier today and yesterday. Fatigue, yeah. Severe illness is more likely in elderly patients and those with certain underlying medical conditions. COVID-19 transmits when people breathe in air contaminated by droplets and small airborne particles containing the virus. The risk of breathing these in its highest when people are in close proximity. They can be inhaled over longer distances, particularly indoors. Transmission can also occur if contaminated fluids reach the eyes, nose, or mouth, and rarely via contaminated surfaces. Infected persons are typically contagious for 5 days and can spread the virus even if they do not develop symptoms. Mutations have produced many strains, variants with varying degrees of infectivity and virulence. COVID-19 vaccines have been approved and widely distributed in various countries since December 2020. Other recommended preventative measures include social distancing, wearing masks, improving ventilation and air filtration, and quarantining those who have been exposed or are symptomatic. Treatments include monoclonal antibodies, novel antiviral drugs, and symptom control. Governmental interventions include travel restrictions, lockdowns, business restrictions and closures, workplace hazard controls, quarantines, testing systems, and tracing contacts of the infected. The pandemic triggered severe social and economic disruption around the world, including the largest global recession since the Great Depression. COVID-19 recession is a global economic recession caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The recession began in most countries in February 20. The COVID-19 recession is a global economic recession caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The recession began in most countries in February 20th, including the largest global recession since the Great Depression. The COVID-19 recession is a global economic recession caused by... Thanks. COVID-19 recession is a global economic recession caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The recession began in most countries in February 20th, since the Great Depression. Widespread supply shortages, including food shortages, were caused by supply chain disruption. The resultant near global lockdowns saw an unprecedented pollution decrease. Interesting. The resultant near global lockdowns saw an unprecedented pollution decrease. The resultant near global lockdowns saw an unprecedented pollution decrease. Educational institutions and public areas were partially or fully closed in many jurisdictions, and many events were cancelled or postponed. Misinformation circulated through social media. False information, including intentional disinformation and conspiracy theories about the scale of the COVID-19 pandemic and the origin, prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of the disease, has been spread through social media, text messaging, and mass media. Misinformation circulated through social media and mass media, and political tensions intensified. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted politics around the world by affecting the governing and political systems of multiple countries, causing suspensions of legislative activities, isolation, or deaths of multiple politicians, and reschedulings of elections due to fears of spreading the virus. The pandemic raised issues of racial and geographic discrimination, health equity, and the balance between public health imperatives and individual rights, public and private rights. Here I'm in my private temple office and room, and when I step outside in the public, I'm no longer just private citizen, I'm also a public citizen with added obligations, duties, and responsibilities. Now I'm gonna go to the news. Just gonna go to the etymology, referring to the name. The pandemic is known by several names. It is often referred to in news media as the coronavirus pandemic. Despite the existence of other human coronaviruses that have caused epidemics and outbreaks, example SARS. Background: SARS-CoV is a newly discovered virus that is closely related to bat coronaviruses, pangolin coronaviruses, and SARS-CoV. The first known outbreak started in Wuhan, Hubei, China in November 2019. Many early cases were linked to people who had visited the Huanan seafood wholesale market there, but it is possible that human-to-human transmission began earlier. The scientific consensus is that the virus is most likely of zoonotic, zoonotic origin from bats or another closely related mammal. Despite this, the subject has generated extensive speculation about alternative origins. My belief is zoonotic in what the scientific consensus is, but not necessarily that's bats. I believe snakes, but I don't know, so I cannot rule out another possibility, such as alternative origins. The origin controversy heightened political divisions, notably between the United States and China. The earliest known infected person fell ill on 1st of December 2019. The earliest known infected person fell ill on December 1st, 2019. The earliest known infected person fell ill on 1st of December 2019. The earliest known infected person fell ill on December 1st, 2019. That individual did not have a connection with the later wet market cluster. However, an earlier case may have occurred on 17th of November. As of July 13, 2022, more than 6.35 million deaths have been attributed to COVID-19. The first confirmed death was in Wuhan on 9th of January 2020. Symptoms of COVID are variable, ranging from mild symptoms to severe illness. First time that I had it, before mass testing was available, I was really, really sick. Thought I was gonna die. End of January until about mid to late February. For about 22 days, I was sick. Many ways did die. Common symptoms include headache, loss of smell and taste. I didn't have loss of smell and taste. Nasal congestion, yeah. Runny nose, yeah. Cough, yeah. Muscle pain, yeah. Sore throat, yeah. Fever, yeah. Diarrhea, no. Breathing difficulties, yeah. Transmission: the disease is mainly transmitted via the respiratory route when people inhale droplets and small airborne particles that form an aerosol that infected people exhale as they breathe, talk, cough, sneeze, or sing. Infected people are more likely to transmit COVID-19 when they are physically close. However, infection can occur over longer distances, particularly indoors. Cause the standard SARS-CoV-2 belongs to the broad family of viruses known as coronaviruses. It is a positive sense single-stranded RNA virus with a single linear RNA segment. Coronaviruses infect humans, other mammals, including livestock and companion animals, and avian species. Human coronaviruses are capable of causing illnesses ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as Middle East respiratory syndrome. Diagnosis. The standard methods of testing for presence of SARS-CoV-2 are nucleic acid test, which detects the presence of viral RNA fragments. As these tests detect RNA but not infectious virus, its ability to determine duration of infectivity of patients is limited. Prevention. Preventative measures to reduce the chances of infection include getting vaccinated. I am triple vaccinated. Staying at home, wearing a mask in public, avoiding crowded places, keeping distance from others, ventilating indoor spaces, managing potential exposure duration, washing hands with soap and water often and for at least 20 seconds, practicing good respiratory hygiene, and avoiding touching the eyes, nose, or mouth with unwashed hands. Vaccines. Vaccines. Treatment. Variants. Prognosis. Prognosis. Containment, mitigation, contact tracing. (2019) is the origin. December 1st. The outbreak was discovered in Wuhan in November 2019. It is possible that human-to-human transmission was happening before the discovery. Based on a retrospective analysis starting from December 2019, the number of cases in Hubei gradually increased, reaching 60 by 20 December and at least 266 by December 31st. Pneumonia cluster was observed on December 26th and treated by Dr. Zhang Zhiyang. She informed the Wuhan CDC on 27th of December. Vision Medicals reported the discovery of a novel coronavirus to the China CDC on 28th of December. On 30th of December, a test report from Capital Biomed Lab addressed to Wuhan Central Hospital reported an erroneous positive result for SARS, causing doctors there to alert authorities. 8 of those doctors, including Li Wenliang, who was also punished on 3rd of January. (2020). The mutations. Don't know. Slightly. Muscle pain I did have, yeah. A headache also with it, yeah. North America. The virus arrived in the United States on 13th of January 2020. Travel restrictions, of course, were imposed, still are in some places, of course. There are protests against government measures. Impact on economics. Hundreds of millions of jobs were lost, including more than 40 million Americans. Supply shortages. Panic buying as well. The culture. Politics. Stock market crash. There was the 2020 stock market crash. On 20th of February 2020, stock markets across the world suddenly crashed after growing instability due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It ended on April 7, 2020. On February 20th, 2020, stock markets across the world suddenly crashed after growing instability due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It ended on 7th of April 2020. On 20th of February 2020, stock markets across the world suddenly crashed after growing instability due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it ended on 7th of April 2020. So the COVID-19 induced stock market crash, which caused the global economic, financial, commercial recession, economic crises by the stock market crash. So I'm gonna keep it at that, and now we're gonna go read some of the news. What is in the news? In the news, what the Bank of Canada's full percentage point hike means for the housing market and your mortgage. This was released earlier from the Financial Post. Well, my credit line is going to increase. I'm going to have to pay more interest because everything goes up with the central bank system, all the debt, the private debt, whether on credit cards, whether on mortgages, whether on consumer loans, whether on business loans, whether on all sorts of loans and debt, and lines of credit, which are usually lower than credit cards and other loans, usually credit lines. Nonetheless, will go up. So, let's read. What does it mean? The Bank of Canada's surprise 100 basis point rate hike will put more pressure on Canada's cooling housing market. The Bank of Canada's surprise 100 basis point rate hike will put more pressure on Canada's cooling housing market. The Bank of Canada's surprise 100 basis point rate hike will put more pressure on Canada's cooling housing market. Bank of Canada's surprise move to hike its policy rate by a full percentage point today, July 13th, will add to the financial squeeze on indebted homeowners. A full percentage point, that was unlikely. They were saying a quarter of a percentage point or half of a percentage point was the speculation. Half, a quarter or half, not 3/4 and a full point or 0.75, but a full percentage point. Wow. That sucks for me, as I'm already economically, financially, commercially struggling. I'm gonna have to go. Can't go because it's my last day of quarantine, self-isolation. So I'm respecting the guidelines for the 5 days. But affect many. The Bank of Canada's surprise move to hike its policy rate by a full percentage point on July 13th will add to the financial squeeze on indebted homeowners and likely push more buyers to the sidelines of an already cooling real estate, even if much of the impact was already expected. Wednesday's interest rate decision, which brought the policy rate up to 2.5% and sent a statement about the bank's resolve in combating inflation, came after markets had already largely priced in a 75 basis point hike. Housing markets have been cooling off. The Bank of Canada has already delivered 3 rate hikes since March. Indeed, 125 basis point increase, followed by 250-point hikes. That already affected me. I noticed it. My interest, I have to pay more interest. I have to pay more interest. More interest on the credit line. Exactly the percentage points. And all debt servicing goes up. The interest paid, right? Let's read about the comments. Crazy. What are they trying to do? Bankrupt Canada? That's way too high a jump. I agree it's way too high a jump. Should have been, I think 3 rate hikes since March was enough. Shouldn't have been hiked. Should have been just kept there. But even that, I believe in my debt refusion theory best at this point in time, and setting a 10% maximum interest on all loans, with lower 7%, 8%, but maximum 10% on all credit card loans, all loans, mortgage loans, business loans, consumer loans, 10% maximum annual. That's what I believe in. That's what Dancing Goddess and the Dragon stands for after the debt refusion theory. After the debt refusion theory, where do you think 90% of the mortgages are? So that's way too high of a jump. I agree with this commenter, along with the other increases. Too much in such a short time. Yes, yes, yes. The salaries have stagnated. Who gets the middle class? Where the middle class at? In debt. Me too, I'm in debt. Open for business. And have been. Theory's best, do firmly believe at this point in time. Can you imagine if you were in a variable rate? Your mortgage payment has jumped around $500 a month. It means more 10 camps. Phase 5. No idea what that comment means, but this is interesting. I don't understand how raising interest rates is supposed to combat inflation. Guess who inflation hurts the most? The average citizen. Guess who higher interest rates hurt the most? The average citizen. Guess who benefits the most from inflation and rising interest rates? Corporations, banks, and the governments. Looks like the average citizen doesn't stand a chance. Interesting. I'm going to read this comment again. I'm going to meditate on it. I don't understand how raising interest rates is supposed to combat inflation. Guess who inflation hurts the most? The average citizen. Correct. Guess who higher interest rates hurt the most? The average citizen. Correct. Guess who benefits the most from inflation and raising interest rates? Corporations, banks, and the government. No slowdown yet in the US inflation. This is another article. We're going to go to another article now. No slowdown yet in US inflation as rates rises to 9.1 in June. The US annual inflation rate defied expectations and rose to a new multi-decade high of 9.1% in the year up to June. Wow. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics said Wednesday that the cost of living rose by 1.3% in the month of June alone, and in 3 of the past 4 months. Rising costs of gasoline, shelter, and food were the main drivers of the annual uptick. Energy prices have increased by 41.6% in the past year. Food costs are up by 10.4%. Shelter costs are up by 5.6%. Economists have been expecting the rate to decline slightly from the 40-year high of 8.6% reached the month before, but instead it ticked even higher, reaching its highest point since 1981. Royce Mendes, an economist with financial services conglomerate Desjardins, called the numbers red hot and says he will likely compel the U.S. The numbers that is, of the rising inflation rate, will likely compel the U.S. central bank to raise its lending rates even more aggressively in the coming months, upping its rate by 0.75% of a percentage point in August and again in September. The Fed will take some relief from the fact that commodity prices and market-based inflation expectations have been falling recently, but that won't be enough to alter their near-term plans, he said in a note to clients. Some of the comments. Great job electing the Democrats, man. No, that has to do with it, but it seems that everything is woke and wonderful. Woke written in capitals. I don't understand too much about what's the woke. Woke what? What does it mean exactly? This I hear it, read about it. Read about it doesn't mean exactly. It's what do you mean? Canadian rates are just as high or other, but our government purpo- purposely fools us for their benefit with their false calculation of rates. Biden or Trudeau are trying to hit 20% inflation by the end of the year. These two clowns think the higher the number, the better. Euro touches parity with the dollar. For this is another article. We're gonna read a lot of economic, financial, commercial news here. So this is about the euro. The euro being the currency of the European Union. The euro. Euro touches parity with the dollar for the first time since 2002. Wow, 20 years. The euro continued to weaken against the dollar on Tuesday, reaching parity, meaning one for one, between the two currencies for the first time since 2002, weighing down by growing fears of a recession in the Eurozone, the different pace of normalization of the monetary policies of the respective central banks. Wow, look at that. Thus, after the learning of the substantial worsening of the German investor confidence, according to data from the Leibniz Center for European Economic Research, the euro-dollar exchange rate briefly reached the level of equivalence after almost 20 years, wow, in which 1 euro had always been worth more than $1. So it has always been worth more in 20 years. In the past 20 years, the euro has always been worth more than the US dollar. Since 2002, the euro was always higher. So now it's reached parity. However, after briefly falling To the parity level, the euro rebounded slightly to trade at 1.0066, 1.0066, $1.0066 after the close of the old continent's markets. So far this year, the euro has accumulated a depreciation of almost 15% against the dollar as a result of fears that the eurozone could end up in a recession due to the fact of the war in Ukraine on prices and markets, as well as the early start of the US Federal Reserve's tightening of its monetary policy compared to the European Central Bank ECB. Wow. In fact, while the ECB has announced that it will undertake the first rate hike since 2011 next week, with a hike of 25 basis points, just like in Canada, just a full basis point, 100, that is basis points of what's called a full basis point. Just financial jargon, perhaps a bit confusing. the, the Fed began normalization of its monetary policy last March with a hike of 25 basis points, followed by hikes of 50 and 75 basis points respectively. In this regard, Morgan Deladon, head of investment strategy for Europe at Global X, warned that with parity with the US dollar, Eurozone faces headwinds with higher imported inflation, while US companies gain purchasing power. Thus, the Eurozone and UK balances of payments are deteriorating and the risk of recession is increasing in the region, reinforcing the strength of the dollar against the sterling and euro. For its part, UB research team believes that concerns about global recession are somewhat overdone and that strong labor markets, high excess savings accumulated during the pandemic, and targeted fiscal programs should support consumer spending and avoid technical recessions in most cases. Something else than economic financial matters that's close to my heart, being part of the LGBTQ community. Again, allegations, we gotta discern, analyze. But man says certain nightclub kicked out because their clothes and dance moves were considered too homosexual. What is what is that supposed to mean? Too homosexual. Let's face it, we still face discrimination. We dance. I love to dance, boogie boogie dance. Their clothes and dance moves were considered too homosexual and offended other patrons. Yeah, it's it sucks. Well, Rainbow Dragon loves you. Let's open the Rainbow Dragon Club and you can dance as homosexual as you want. I'll even applaud. go, go more. Too homosexual. What is that? They were dancing between homosexuals themselves. I would have probably been dancing with them if I would have been there. Yay! And Guru says some people in the club threw and other discriminatory remarks. Well, that sucks. clothes and dance moves were considered too homosexuals. Too homosexual. That sucks. LGBTQ solidarity, B. Or Rainbow Dragon Dancing Army, man. Canadian food suppliers signal more price hikes coming to grocery stores this fall. No, that's not good. Canadian food suppliers are once again issuing notices to grocery retailers informing them of upcoming price hikes. Canadian food suppliers are once again issuing notices to grocery retailers informing them of upcoming high price. This was this morning around 11 in the news. So this is new news. This will affect me and the majority of us even more. Canadian food suppliers are once again issuing notices to grocery retailers informing them of upcoming price hikes. Canadian food suppliers signal more price hikes coming to grocery store this fall. The letters signal more price increases will hit grocery stores this fall in a year that has already seen nearly double-digit increases in food costs. In some cases, the higher prices are due to the Canadian Dairy Commission's approval of a second milk price increase this year. Farm gate milk prices are set to go up about 2 cents per liter or 2.5 cents on September 1st. Yet dairy processing companies appear to be taking on their own increases as well. The so-called piggybacking of price hikes industry observers warned would happen. Lactalis Canada, for example, said in a letter to customers it must implement an average national market increase of 5% this September, a rate it said that takes into account CDC pricing increase as well as significant inflationary costs the company is facing. Arla Foods Canada issued a similar notice saying price increases on its products coming this September reflect higher milk ingredients costs and the inflationary impacts across freight and packing. Saputo Dairy Products Canada also said it would implement price increases in the 5% range. Producers have faced increased production costs as well as rising feed, energy, and fertilizer costs, which have had a significant impact on this year's farm gate milk price adjustments, Saputo said in a letter to its retail customers. In addition to these regulated increases, there have been unprecedented and unsustained inflationary pressures affecting manufacturing, energy, labor, and disruption costs throughout the entirety of the supply chain. Price increases shared with grocers underscore how regulated dairy price hikes are compounded by additional price increases throughout the supply chains, said Gary Sand, Senior Vice President of Public Policy with the Canadian Federation of Independent Grocers. The timing of the increases almost seems like they are piggybacking on top of the regulated increases, he said. The net effect is to further exacerbate the issue and concerns around affordability. Price of food purchased at stores. The increasing price for these essential products is particular concern in those communities. The price of food purchased at stores rose 9.7% in May compared with a year ago. Surging prices will put pressure on grocers to promote their private label options. Consumers are trading sideways or trading down on anything and everything right now and switching to discount stores. They're really more sensitive about the cost of living. The last thing processors want is to become a scapegoat and to blame for higher food inflation. Inflation is impacting every single Canadian out there, but it's also impacting the political economy of food and how the food industry is being perceived. This is a report by the Canadian Press. First, as we are all aware, the cycle of inflation is in large part being driven by the latest phase in the evolution of the pandemic and by the global geopolitical situation sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing conflict. As we are all aware, this cycle of inflation is in large part being driven by the latest phase in the evolution of the pandemic and by the global geopolitical situation sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing conflict, the company said. As we are all aware, this cycle of inflation is in large part being driven by the latest phase in the evolution of the pandemic and by the global geopolitical situation sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing conflict, the company said. This report by the Canadian press was first published today, July 13th. Today. There are 77 comments. Water told a disgusting joke the last 7 years of what Trudeau has done to Canada. It's not that easy to blame one person. Is not a big fan of Trudeau, but I always ask commenters, what would you have done, Mr. Alexander? Good at critics, eh? Critics. Constructive criticism, please. Constructive criticism, please. You say this last 7 years, I've suffered, I've struggled, I'm mediocre average at some things. Some things I am excellent, great geopolitical analysis, philosophy, and got some brain and some muscle, but I'm not without fault, without vices, without lusts. I'm not without being mediocre or average at certain things and skills and competencies to this modern, complex, integrated systems of trade, finance, and economics and supply chains that exist that have risen over decades, incrementally, over many decades before when I was born, before my generation of millennials is millennials before. So I always ask, okay, Trudeau aside, what would you do? Would you do? What would you implement? Well, I am saying what I call for. The implementation of my trinity of theories: citizen integration theory, debt refusion theory, democratic fusion theory. DFT, democratic fusion theory, implemented. DRT, debt refusion theory, implemented. Citizen integration theory. CIT, implemented. Trinity of theories plus fourth dimension, love is action, with love to do it. And implement it to create two complementary, covenant, and cooperative institutions. Dragan Army for security and service, securing food, housing, transport for all, then offering services. Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom and the Phoenix People's Party, the Global Dragon Union with my 11 principles for the 21st century Workers Alliance. See a lot of critics without much constructive criticism propose a solution, an alternative, propose an action. What I'm willing to do for my allies and armies, I'm willing to march, cook, work out, train, exercise, wash, kiss, hug, wash, kiss, hug, wash, kiss, hug. requires doing, the philosophy and the thinking. Purpose and pleasure. Give somebody a massage. Massage, massage. I read this comment. It cost me yesterday $10.58 with all the fees on it for 4-liter jugs. If this continues, it's going to cost me around 6 before all the fees are placed each one. On what though? I'm assuming milk. Good news is that I'm hearing children playing, laughing, and loving, which is the anthem of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. The anthem of the dancing goddess and the dragon, children laughing and playing, which I'm hearing now in the park. That's the good news. Make love tonight also. It's my message. Tax their profits accordingly. There is no fairness in this version of market economics. There's something there, Mr. Brian. Tax their profits accordingly. The profits accordingly. There's no fairness in this version of market economics. There's versions of market economics indeed, eh? There are versions of market economics indeed. Tax the profits. And like I said, with all the imperfections, flaws that I do have, vices, lusts, don't play it self-righteous. There's no way that I would have been that fucking selfish if I would have had millions of dollars in the bank account not to finance food security, children's food security, toys to make them play sports and afford sports, or finance food security or public transport or other such. There's no way. First and foremost, food security because it's dear important to me, and rent thereafter, and whatever if I would have had millions to not give or offer for independent artists to commission work or to today if I would have been if I would have had millions of dollars access in my bank account. I'm in the minus, I'm broke, but my work is gold. I'm broke, but my work is gold. So let's continue reading, educating what is in the news. On the geopolitical sphere of importance, I'm gonna be reading this. This was from last night. Reuters. China says it drove away U.S. destroyer that sailed near disputed islands. Beijing, Reuters. A U.S. destroyer sailed near the disputed Paracel Islands. Paracel Islands. You were learning. Paracel, never been there physically. So let's see where the Paracel Islands are. Paracel Islands, also known as Shisha Islands, South China Sea. Population over 1,000 as of 2014. So small population, but wow, look, very beautiful islands there. Let's see what it Wikipedia says. Parcel Islands. Sorry, Wiki, I'm broke. Cannot make a donation at the moment. Would love to give you $2.75 via PayPal, but didn't get that dollar donation. Maybe by midnight tonight, by 3 p.m., maybe in an hour, in 93 minutes, we'll get my. So we'll make an offer on my shirt. PayPal for my own video, then maybe. Paracel Islands. Archipelago includes about 130 small coral islands and reefs. The archipelago is approximately equidistant equidistant from the coastlines of the People's Republic of China, PRC, and Vietnam, wow, and approximately one-third of the way from central Vietnam to northern Philippines. The archipelago includes Dragon Hole, the deepest underwater sinkhole in the world. Learning today, learning something new. I'm excited. Need more coffee? Don't have any more. I think I had enough coffee since I can't go. I'm not gonna go out since it's my last day of quarantine to jog to do whatever. But well, of course, continue reading here. Let's see. The archipelago includes Dragon Hole, the deepest underwater sinkhole. What is a sinkhole? A sinkhole is a depression or hole in the ground caused by some form of collapse of the surface layer. The term is sometimes used to refer to dough-line, enclosed depressions that are locally also known as vertices, shakeholes, and two openings. So the archipelago, this parcel islands that's in the news since last night, 12 hours ago, only this morning for us. The archipelago is the Dragon Hole, the deepest underwater sinkhole in the world. Turtles and seabirds are native to the island. Islands, plural, 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 because it's an archipelago of islands. Different clusters of islands, or I want to call it archipelago. So this is a disputed archipelago in South China Sea. Archipelago, sometimes called an island group or island chain. So Montreal in many ways is kind of like an archipelago. I live on Montreal Hawk Island proper, the big piece, and around Hawk Island there's little islands all around surrounding Hawk Island, Montreal. It's like kind of like an archipelago. St. Lawrence Seaway, St. Lawrence River, St. Lawrence Water System, Yellow Sand Archipelago. Huan Da Huang Sa, that's in Vietnamese. Khisha Huang Dao, West Sand Archipelago in Chinese, or Paracel Islands, known as Shisha Islands, with a Z, Xisha Islands. The archipelago is called. It's different names. So it's a disputed archipelago. Let's read about it. The archipelago includes about 130 small coral islands and reefs. So the archipelago includes Dragon Hole. Dragon Hole, also known as Yongui Blue Hole, named after the third Ming Emperor, is the deepest known blue hole in the world at 300.89 meters, 987.2 feet deep. It is located about 9 kilometers, 5.6 miles north of Drummond Island in the Paracel Island. Blue holes generate a distinctive blue color. Wow. Interesting. Dragon Hole. The deepest underwater sinkhole in the world. Turtles, seabirds native to the island. The archipelago is surrounded by productive fishing grounds and a seabed with potential, but as yet unexplored oil and gas reserves. Does it have oil? Unexplored. The colonial government of French Indochina set up telecommunication and weather station on Tattle Island on the Crescent Group with Woody Island, South China Sea, Boise, and French and Amira Group in the 1930s, which they regularly supplied until 1945. Later, French and Vietnamese forces landed on Pal Island and Crescent Group in January 1947. By 1955, South Vietnam had taken possession of the Crescent Group. The situation changed with the Battle of the Paracel Islands in January 1974, when the PRC expelled, interesting, the South Vietnamese from the Paracel Islands. South Vietnam's claim to the islands was inherited by the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, which has ruled all of Vietnam since 1975. Vietnam, officially the Socialist Republic of Vietnam,
The ownership of the islands remains hotly contested. China, Vietnam, and Taiwan, Taiwan known as ROC, Republic of China, officially, Taiwan officially is called the ROC, Republic of China, to be distinguished from the People's Republic of China, of course. All claim de jure sovereignty, so China, Vietnam, and Taiwan is disputed. Although the PRC, People's Republic of China, has de facto control of the islands. In July 2012, China declared a city named Sansha under Hainan province as administering the area. In February 2017, the Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative reported 20 outposts of the PRC built on reclaimed land in the parcels, three of which have small harbors capable of berthing naval and commercial ships. Wow, interesting. So now that we learned a little bit about Paracel Islands, we're going to go back to the article of Reuters. Beijing Reuters, a U.S. destroyer sailed near the disputed Paracel Islands. So I've heard about the Paracel Islands before, but did not know. See, it's disputed between Vietnam, China, and Taiwan, although China has de facto control of it. So U.S. destroyers sailed near the disputed Paracel Islands in the South China Sea on Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. Hawk Island, Montreal. It's 1:37 p.m. EST, but local time differs. In Beijing, of course, it's already. What time is it in Beijing? Let's see. So Beijing is 1:37 a.m. in the morning. It's 1:37 a.m. in the morning. So it's the next day in Beijing, already past midnight. It's 1:37 a.m. in the morning. They're already the next day. So a U.S. destroyer, which is a Navy ship of the United States Navy, a U.S. destroyer sailed near the disputed Paracel Islands in the South China Sea on Wednesday, drawing an angry reaction from Beijing, which said its military had driven away the ship after it illegally entered territorial waters. Illegally entered territorial waters. Interesting. The U.S. destroyer sailed near the disputed Paracel Islands in the South China Sea on Wednesday, drawing an angry reaction from Beijing, which said its military had driven away the ship after it illegally entered territorial waters. These Paracel waters, which are claimed by China and are also claimed by Vietnam and also claimed by Taiwan. So three countries claim these islands, and China has de facto established themselves on the islands. Paracel Islands. The United States regularly carries out what it calls freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea, challenging what it says are restrictions on innocent passage imposed by China and other claimants. The United States regularly carries out what it calls freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea, challenging what it says are restrictions on innocent passage imposed by China and other claimants. The United States, the USA, regularly carries out what it calls freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea, challenging what it says are restrictions on innocent passage imposed by China and other claimants. Monday marked the sixth anniversary of a ruling by an international tribunal that invalidated China's sweeping claims to the South China Sea, a conduit for about $3 trillion worth of shipborne trade each year. Wow. Wow. 3 trillion. So 1 trillion is 1,000 billion, as a billion is 1,000 million. A trillion has 12 zeros, a billion has 9, a million has 6. 1 billion is not 100 million, it's 1,000 million, and a trillion is 1,000 billion. Monday marked the sixth anniversary of a ruling by an international tribunal that invalidated China's sweeping claims to the South China Sea, a conduit for about 3 trillion worth of shipborne trade each year. Monday marked the sixth anniversary of a ruling by an international tribunal that invalidated China's sweeping claims to the South China Sea, a conduit for about 3 trillion worth of shipborne trade each year. Wow. China has never accepted the ruling. China has never accepted the ruling. China has never accepted the ruling. The US Navy said the destroyer USS Benfold asserted navigational rights and freedoms in the South China Sea near the Paracel Islands, consistent with international law. China said it does not impede freedom of navigation or overflight, accusing the United States of deliberately provoking tensions. The People's Liberation Army's Southern Theater Command, the U.S. ship's actions seriously violated China's sovereignty and security by illegally entering Taiwan's territorial waters around the paracels, which are also claimed by Vietnam and Taiwan. So, like we read before in the Wikipedia article, PLA's stands for People's Liberation Army. PLA Southern, the Army of China, People's Republic of China, of course, not the ROC, not the Republic of China, which is known as Taiwan, but the People's Republic of China, also known as mainland China. PLA's Southern Theater Command organized sea and air forces to follow, monitor, warn, and drive away the ship. It added, showing pictures of the Benfold taken from the deck of the Chinese frigate, the Shanning, with an X, Xianning. The facts once again show that the United States is nothing short of a security risk maker in the South China Sea, and a destroyer of regional peace and stability. Who said that? So this is not attributed to. It's a quote, but it doesn't say who said it. The US Navy said the Chinese statement on the mission was false and the latest in a long string of Chinese actions to misrepresent lawful US maritime operations and assert its excessive and illegitimate maritime claims at the expense of the southern Asian neighbors in the South China Sea. The United States is defending every country's right to fly, sail, and operate wherever international law allows, and nothing China says otherwise will deter us, it added. China seized control of the Paracel Islands from the then South Vietnamese government in 1974. In a separate statement later on Wednesday, the U.S. Navy said the Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group was also operating in the South China Sea, describing such carrier operations there as routine. The carrier group is conducting maritime security operations, which include flight operations, maritime strike exercises, and coordinated tactical training between surface and air units, it added. Monday marked the sixth anniversary of a ruling by an international tribunal that invalidated China's sweeping claims to the South China Sea. China has never accepted the ruling. China claims almost the entire South China Sea. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei all have competing and often overlapping claims. China has built artificial islands on some of its South China Sea holdings, including airports, raising regional concerns about Beijing's intentions. Hardcore, man. Hardcore event. Great events. Comments. Comments. Let's see what else is in the news. What economists are saying about Bank of Canada's steep increase 32 minutes ago from the Financial Post, AFP. Bank of Canada delivered a steep hike of the overnight interest rate on July 13 as it wrestles to get decades high inflation under control. Governor Tim McCallum and his deputies raised the policy rate by a full percentage point, bringing the interest rate up from 1.5% to 2.5%. It's an aggressive move by the central bank. It's an aggressive move by the central bank. It's an aggressive move by the central bank, and the largest since 1998, more than 22 years, more than 22 years, 1998, more than 20 years, and the largest since 1998. But the governing council likely felt assured in their decision after the United States Federal Reserve Bank made a similarly vigorous hike of 75 basis points last month. Inflation has hit records not seen in 4 decades, climbing to 7.7% in May. Thanks to higher prices in almost every category Statistics Canada tracks. Many economists predicted price pressures could be peaking. However, the central bank's rate increase landed just after the US released inflation data for June, showing its consumer price index surged 9.1% over the year. Supersize me. Bank of Canada overnight lending rate. Wow. Prices in Canada then follow what happens south of the border, and with inflation showing few signs of cooling, more hikes are likely to come. Read on for expert reaction to what this outsized increase means. Derek Holt, head of capital markets economics at Bank of Nova Scotia. Royce Mind is managing director and head of macro strategy at Desjardins. The Bank of Canada is committing to further rate hikes, despite the fact that there are some signs that the economy is slowing and certain components of inflation are cooling. Central bankers are again tying their hands with forward guidance. There's not a lot of data between now and the September meeting, so expect further policy tightening in on a preset course. Stephen Brown, senior economist at Capital Economics. The statement noted that the decision to hike the policy rate by 100 basis points for 2.5%, the first 100 BP stands for basis points, first 100 basis points move since August 1998. So it was always either 25 basis points or 50 basis points of 75. There hasn't been a rate hike such aggressive of 100 basis points since August 1998. So now the cost serves the desk. My cost inclusive will go up. Was intended to front load the path to higher interest rates rather than to reach a higher final destination. While the bank said that it continues to judge the interest rates will need to rise further, it provided no update on where it expects the policy rate to end up, having hinted last month that it intends to raise it to either the top end of its neutral rate estimate of between 2% and 3%, or a bit further. Simon Harvey, head of analysis at Monex Canada, with the Fed expected to conduct two further 75 basis points hikes at their next two meetings, it is likely the BOC, Bank of Canada, will follow up today's decision with a 75 basis points hike in September. From there on in, with rates considered to be above neutral, adjustments are likely to take a more fine-tuning approach. James Orlando, senior economist at TD. This big step up in rates is uncommon So too is the economic backdrop. With the unemployment rate of 4.9%, wages running at 5.5%, 5.2%, and inflation at 7.7%, the pressure on the BOC has not let up. The hit to consumers from high inflation and rising rates will weigh on growth and the remainder of the year and into 2022. Though this raises the risk that the economy tips into recession, the bank has to accept this risk and possible outcomes in order to prevent high inflation expectation from becoming even more entrenched. Carl Shamor, chief strategist at Cambridge Mercantile Corp. Fear of an unmooring in inflation expectations was evident throughout the release, with officials noting surveys indicate more consumers and businesses are expecting inflation to be higher for longer, raising the risk that elevated inflation becomes entrenched in price and wage setting, implying that the economic cost of restoring price stability will be higher. To Nguyen, economist at RSM Canada, as unsettling as this news is for consumers and businesses alike, an economy-wide recession is still unlikely in 2022. Certain industries, such as the housing market, which has already slowed, will likely go into decline. But overall, the economic indicators of the job market, businesses, consumers point to a still rather healthy economy. However, slowdown is certain and a necessary trade-off to restore price stability. Josh Neer, senior economist at Royal Bank of Canada, my bank, RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. The BOC, the Bank of Canada, revised its GDP growth forecasts significantly lower, trimming 0.75 percentage points from its 2022 projection and 1.5 percentage point from 2023. It attributed the downward revisions to higher inflation, tighter financial conditions, ongoing supply chain disruptions, and weaker foreign demand. Global GDP growth has been slowing to 2% next year, with the US at 1.1%. The BOC thinks the easing of temporary supply disruptions, assumed to be worth 2.5% of GDP currently, will support growth over the next 2 years, allowing for decent GDP gains while still absorbing excess demand, currently thought to be around 1% of GDP. That allows inflation to ease from 8% in the near term to 3% by the end of the next year, to 2% in 2022. But the BOC admitted the path to such a soft landing has narrowed. Indeed, we think the BOC forecasts are optimistic, with growth likely needing to slow more materially next year if domestic inflationary pressure is to be brought under control in any reasonable time frame. In our view, a soft landing will be difficult to achieve, and our forecast now assumes a mild recession next year. Charles N. Arnault, chief economist at Alberta Central. The key message in today's decision is that the central bank is fully committed to controlling inflation. The decision to front load the increase in policy rate is an effort to nip in the bud any upside pressure on inflation expectations and prevent the high inflation rate from becoming entrenched. It also suggests that when deciding between bringing down inflation or avoiding a recession, the BOC will prioritize inflation. This means that the BOC will likely remain unfazed by the current pullback in the housing market unless it threatens financial stability. It is important to stress that the BOC has little control over global inflationary pressures coming from higher commodity prices or global supply chain disruptions. As such, increasing interest rates will not lower food or gasoline prices or make the computer chip shortage disappear. The only way for the BOC to lower inflation is by slowing the domestic economy, creating excess capacity, and reducing domestic inflationary pressures. This is a balancing act that will lead to a periodic economic underperformance, notably in the labor market and consumer spending. Whether it will be a soft landing or a recession remains to be determined. Comments. Morgan. Remember when economists said that millions of people will starve from the COVID lockdowns and the excessive printing of money would lead to massive inflation? And here we are over a silly flu. What was done to us was criminal. What would you have done, Morgan? Terry Christensen. We need to vanquish the WEF, and WF, I'm assuming, stands for the World Economic Forum, and all its members have to. Okay. All by design, Canada is the WEF experiment. What's this WF, World Economic Forum? Oh, that conspiracy theories. I'm not into that conspiracy theories. But what would you do? Kane. I know what I'm calling to do. Implement my trinity of theories. Citizen integration theory, democratic fusion theory, debt fusion theory created to complementary covenant to cooperative institutions. International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragan Army, with the International Integrated Dancing, aka the Dancing Goddess Army. Secure food, housing, and transport, local, national, international. To secure the three essential elements of civilization, work towards the service season. With citizen integration theory, go east, west, north, south, integrated citizens to fight alienation and explore how farming is done, how electricity works, how recycling is done, how highways, maintenance, railways, everything that we have is economic, financial, commercial, as a civilization, as a civilization, as a civilization. Problems that government so that's it for the day. More in the news, roommates, multi-generational homes rising amid increasing costs. Israel to legalize the status of 5,500 undocumented Palestinians and foreigners in Gaza and the West Bank. Israel to legalize the status of 5,500 undocumented Palestinians and foreigners in Gaza and the West Bank. Israel to legalize the status of 5,500 undocumented Palestinians and foreigners in Gaza and the West Bank. European Central Bank head targeted in hacking attempt. I'm assuming it's Lagarde. I'm not sure. Still. European Central Bank said Tuesday that its president Christine Lagarde was targeted in a hacking attempt, but no information was compromised. Bill Gates gives 20 billion to stem significant suffering. Astrological brother supported dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Bill Gates gives 20 billion to stem significant suffering. To the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom to ally the Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation. Bill Gates gives 20 billion to stem significant suffering. I'm gonna end it on that note.